it. I'm not gonna say anything.
All right.
No, you gotta say it.
I'm not saying it. I'm just.
I should actually move.
No.
No, you should say it, dude.
Come on.
No, we're all saying it
at
the same time.
I don't want to say anything.
Just say it.
All right. So what is
Alright. So, we're the NYC Geeks, and this is our podcast.
Okay. Alright, we're going to do it one more time. Oh, and I'll say I'm a guest.
No, you're an NYC Geek.
Okay. So, we're the
NYC Geeks, and this is our podcast.
Come on, Dominic.
I'm the special guest. I don't want to say
Just say it once.
All right.
No, I don't want to.
Come on, just one time.
I'm recording all this and I'm going to put it.
Come on, just say it once. This
Ready?
is for our livelihood.
I'm never doing this again. I'm going to splice this into every future podcast.
Alright.
We're the NYC.
Wait, you're going to say it.
All right.
We're the NYC Geeks.
Wait. On 3. 1, 2. We're the
NYC Geeks.
I can't start it, right? I feel like I can't start it. All right.
Wait, I'm gonna do like with my fingers 1, 2, 3, and then we talk. Okay. 1, 2, 3, and then we talk.
All right. So after 3, we
Yeah.
talk.
All right.
We're the NYC Geeks,
and
this is our podcast. I don't know what this was. Cut. Hey.
What if I said I only went back to college and graduated because I felt certain people thought I couldn't? What if I said it felt like a waste of time? What if I said every day I apply to jobs I secretly hope never call me? Because having a job that I lack passion in is a thought I find highly appalling. What if I said some days the sunshine seems to shine too bright? What if I said the nights aren't dark enough? What if I said this bed felt best when we both rested between its borders? What if I said when you left, I'd hope you'd regret doing so, but knowing you probably never would? What if I said I'd never shoot another shot of whiskey again if it meant our broken love could find a way to mend? What if I said I am unsure if anyone else will accept me the way that you did? What if I said I am unwilling to take that chance? What if I said I think God has lost hope in me because I'm barely holding on to my faith? What if I said raise your hands if you can relate? What if I said that my pop continuously tries to show me a path to peace, but I always end up losing my way? What if I said I carry my smile like a steel shield, but behind it I feel weak? What if I said at the age of 29 I felt like I've had too much time? What if I said the inside of my head is filled with such insurmountable dread? What if I said lately I've been looking in the mirror less because who I view is too homely? What if I said depression could start to feel like a companion when you get to feeling this lonely? What if I said I've contemplated many times of committing suicide? What if I said the only reason I hadn't done so is because I knew my mother wouldn't survive? What if I were to ever stop asking what if? So this is JC over here.
Hello.
And otherwise known as Joaquin Capehart.
Yes.
That is me.
And he has 2 books. These are them. One of them, you want to talk about them? Talk about.
Well, before, should we do the do?
Oh, so yeah. JC has brought us whiskey. And he would like us to take shots of it. Dom has his Ninja Turtles mug, because he's a child. Alright, so, should we just do this?
Yeah, let's do it.
To heartbreak.
Yeah.
To pain.
Oh, we're gonna feel the pain. Alright. Yeah, I like the honey. It's good.
Ooh.
That was the first shot I've taken in my apartment.
Woo! Oh, wow. Alright. Let's talk about your first book first of all.
Yeah.
So, thoughts of a spoken poet.
Yeah.
So let's pause for a second. So this podcast is going to be like ridiculously different because John's gonna take it and make it sort of professional, while I'm just like blathering on dumb like stuff all the time at John. So this is probably gonna be like our best podcast so far.
Cool. I'm excited.
Not to hype it up or anything.
I feel a lot of weight now. It's like.
Don't worry about it, guys. I got you.
All right, JC. So tell us about your first book. When did this come out?
That came out in 2011. 2011, I was 22, and it all kind of happened out of nowhere. I have a cousin who knew an author. Her name is Justina McFadden, and she told her about my poetry, and we met, and she just she liked, you know, what I had to say and what I had to write, and she said that she wanted to help me publish a book, and a couple months later we got this baby right here. This dream come true, and it deals with a lot of different things, you know, like just like different things about my life, being in a wheelchair, you know, a couple love poems, couple political poems, yeah. So a bunch of different topics make up this thing right here.
So this one might become a collector's item, right?
Yes, hopefully soon, because I'm going to discontinue it. Is that the right?
Yeah, I feel like that's the right word.
So.
I'm going to discontinue it. So if you want to own this, you should go now and buy it. It's available on Amazon.com. Let me see. Amazon, Barnes & Noble, AuthorHouse.com. It's also available if you like ebooks. So you can download it on your Android or...
But that's not going to be limited edition.
Oh.
That's not a collector's item. The digital version.
That is true. Yeah, you got paperbacks are better anyway. So
yeah, this one's called Thoughts of a Spoken Poet. So look for that by Joaquin Capehart.
And the way, one more thing.
Yeah.
The way that name came about was when I met Justina. She asked me if I had done any spoken word.
Yeah.
I was younger. So she asked me if I had done any spoken word, and I told her no. So the same night that we met in the Starbucks on Steinway, she said, "Oh, I know of
an open mic.
An open mic happening tonight." So we got in her car, we drove to Brooklyn.
Nice.
And I got up in front of maybe a room of about, 50 people.
Shit.
And I read off of a paper, and I was completely nervous, and I was a wreck, and I was nervous. I was like shaking and like stuttering, but the poem went over well. Everybody liked it and clapped, and that was my first time doing spoken word. So before I got there, I was thinking about naming it Thoughts of an Unspoken Poet. But
Nice.
Once I got up on stage and I was able to speak.
Put it on your resume.
Yeah. So Thoughts of an Unspoken Poet became Thoughts of a Spoken Poet.
So then that one jumps to this one, right?
Yes, sir.
And this one is mostly about a girl, right?
Not one girl.
Multiple girls?
4 girls.
And is this like prior to all those women's?
I'm sorry, what?
Is this prior to all those girls?
What do you mean prior?
Prior, like before them. Or were you with those girls during this one?
You know what? I can't really remember. I can't.
It's all the whiskey that you needed to drink for these girls.
This one's poems for her.
Yeah.
That's it.
So
multiple hers.
Poems for her. I had the idea because I knew I wanted to make it about more than one woman that I had a relationship with. I kind of wanted to do a silhouette type of cover. So she is supposed to represent, the 4 women that are in this book. So 4 chapters, each named after a different woman. I did change their names because, just in case anybody didn't like what I said,
Right.
I didn't want to be sued.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But Leah, Candace, Renee, and Stacy.
Are the fake names.
Or fake names. And this is the real, like, even though with my second book and everything like that, this one is real special because I like how it has like a centralized theme, and I just feel like this is, I'm just really proud of this one.
And the poem that we just read, What If I Said, is in here?
No.
No, it's not.
That's a new one?
That is the new one. That's a new poem in my new book that's coming out.
Nice.
And it's actually also titled What If I Said. The complete book is titled What If I Said.
Nice.
And that should be out hopefully in the end of June around my birthday. So
soon.
I'm pushing for that.
Awesome.
So I'd like to start asking questions about the poem.
Okay.
So the first question that came to mind. So it's What If I Said. I mean, that's the name of the poem, and that's what you keep repeating. So, because last week, I think it was last week, or maybe 2 weeks ago now, when I did Poetry in the Park. Oh, we should
Oh, yeah.
hype that up a little bit, promote that.
Poetry in the Park.
So, Poetry in the Park.
Check out our last podcast.
Yeah, Poetry in the Park 13 is Joaquin and Jarrell's YouTube channel, where they go to different parks and have poets read their poems in different parks. And I was on there. Our episode hasn't been published yet because I'm still working on that whole thing.
Yeah.
But what I was gonna say is afterwards we all had like a big conversation about what it means to be a man in today's society and masculinity. And I thought it was interesting, like that you say like, "What if I said?" Because does that mean that you're afraid to actually say it, or it's something that you wouldn't normally say?
That's a good question. It is. I named the poem What If I Said and the book What If I Said because it just goes back to the fact that everything in that poem, or a lot of things in that poem, I haven't said. Like, I'm speaking about, mainly in that poem, I'm speaking a lot about, like, depression and suicide. And those aren't really things that I've, verbalized out loud. So that was just me, kind of saying, like, what if I said this and what if I said that? And, me thinking about how people might react to me saying those things.
Yeah.
What has been the reaction when you read that poem?
I think the reaction has been pretty good. I've only read it a couple times. Now we get to shout out this man's open mic.
Azalea Cafe.
Florida Azalea
Cafe. Cafe.
That's in what is it?
Long Island City.
Yeah.
Long Island City. It's a monthly open mic. I'm doing his promo.
Yeah.
We're doing all each other's promos. So you've only done it there?
Yeah, I've only done it there because
I feel special.
Yeah, it's a safe space, right?
Safe space.
So yeah, I've done it there. I think maybe 3 times. And every time I do it, it's like a kind of different crowd, but it seems to go over pretty well. And the part where you read, or the part where it says where I wrote,
raise your hand.
Yeah, raise your hand if you can relate. Whenever I've done it, I always have somebody go, like, they raise their hand.
Yeah.
Or they, let me know that I'm not alone. Which is, I mean, it's not a great feeling to have that.
Right, you kind of want to be alone in those with that.
I mean, but just the fact that somebody else feels the same way that you do lets you know that, like, the human experience isn't that much different from person to person is what I think.
Why do you feel that way? What did you feel when you were writing that poem?
You know what I felt.
When did you write that poem? Let's start there.
Let me see. I would have to look for like the specific date. I would have to look for, but I definitely wrote it sometime in like November, I believe, and it might have started out like there's a stanza in that poem that like strictly deals with me and my ex and us breaking up. So I think it initially started out as like about her, but I just wanted to. I felt like I could expand it and make it about, you know, a lot of different things that I was thinking about at the time. So.
And is this one of the girls from that book or
No.
Fifth Girl?
No, that book was great because sometimes you don't get closure with things.
Yeah.
Like 3 out of the 4, I would say I didn't get like closure on those relationships. But like when I wrote that book, and you know I finished it and I published it and put it out, that was me getting my own closure. So every woman that I wrote about in that book, like I have no more like feelings for them at all.
Yep.
At all?
I mean, you know, I want to see them do well. They are doing well, and you know, but I mean, I don't love them anymore. You know, there's nothing romantic that still like lingers inside of my soul. You know what I'm saying? Interesting fact though, over the last 2 weekends, like last weekend and the weekend prior to that, I saw 2 out of the 4 women that I wrote about in that book. And that was pretty interesting because I felt like that was kind of like the universe like testing me to see if I really was over it, you know. And you know, I saw Renee 2 weeks ago, and we hung out for a night, and we went out. I took her to my favorite bar. I took her to karaoke. We had a great time.
Nice.
And you know, that was cool. And then I saw oh my God, I always get the names mixed up.
Fake name.
Yeah,
What's
fake
the
name?
real fake name for this one?
You can edit, right?
No, we ain't editing nothing. Just say a name. It doesn't matter. Nobody's gonna know.
So her name started with like an L, right?
Leah. Didn't you say Leah?
Oh yeah, Leah.
Yeah.
So I saw Leah last weekend, and that was great. But great in the sense that like we hadn't seen each other in about 5 years.
Damn.
She actually showed up at like a family function. My sister invited her because they're still pretty close.
Yeah.
We just saw each other. We talked. We had a good time. She read the book recently. That was pretty funny because as she's reading the book, she messaged me and she's like, "Yo, Leah's a bitch." And I just started laughing. And she was like, "Wait, is Leah supposed to be me?"
She realized like after the fact.
And I was like, "Well, legally, I can't really." But yeah, so
that's hilarious.
Yeah, good times.
So John, I know you've spoken about some girl that you've had in your past.
Yeah.
Are you over that, or do you?
No.
No. How long has that been?
That's why it's interesting to me because I don't think I'll ever completely. But we had a weird relationship. It's not like, because part of me thinks like, because me and her like we never actually dated. Like we were friends, but I was secretly in love with her for like a decade. You know.
Yeah. That's
So part of me thinks that if I had been able to have an actual relationship with her, then maybe it would have been easier to almost get over her.
Yeah.
I get that.
'Cause like,
It's like, what if?
I was never able to express those feelings.
What if?
What if you dated her?
What if you dated her?
Yeah. But that's the thing. It's like, I feel like if I had a relationship with her, at least I would have had a time where we were together and everything.
Yeah.
Like I had been able to express those feelings.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Also, part of me just wonders, like, let me know if you agree or disagree, but I don't think love ever completely goes away. I think that, it could change. But I think, like, I don't think you, at least for myself, I've never, even people that have completely betrayed me, like friends and stuff, like, I've never stopped caring about someone. That doesn't necessarily mean you can have them in your life.
Yeah.
But would you agree or disagree with that?
I agree completely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think that if you really genuinely and truly love somebody, I don't think that love completely goes away either. Because love is such like a strong emotion.
Yeah.
That it can never really go away. Like my ex who I wrote about in What If I Said, oh man, I loved her. I say loved, but like if I'm being completely honest, like I still love her.
Yeah.
We broke up. It's almost been a year. You know what I'm saying? June 12th will be like the anniversary of our breakup.
Nice.
And like I'm past it in the sense where I'm not like I'm able to like function again.
Yeah.
But like 20 years from now, I'm pretty sure I'll still be thinking about her and hoping she's okay and everything like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, true love does not go away.
It reminds me of I always talk about my grandfather who was like a mentor to me. And something he once said, I don't know if he came up with this analogy or he was quoting something else, but he once came up with the analogy of like a tree, right? Mm-hmm. And sometimes things get like dark, and so like the tree has to bend to find the light again.
Yeah.
And then he said like that tree could grow for 100 years, but you'll still always be able to see that bend, where that happened,
Mm-hmm.
It's always gonna be there.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's a good metaphor for a broken heart,
It is.
Like, it'll always be there, but you find a way to move on, but it's still always going to be with you.
Yeah, that's true. And like there's different, I believe that there's different types of love.
Yeah,
Completely, because like, in poems for her, like, especially at the time, like, especially Leah, like I loved her, you know what I'm saying? But then you meet other people, and then you have different like degrees of relationships.
Yeah.
And not that the new person you're with makes you think that the last time you think you felt love wasn't real love, but you just like it kind of ascends to a new level, So I love Leah, but like I'll say her real name, Kristen. Like I love, you know what I'm saying? Like it's just that was real,
Cause plus you're getting over that last love.
Somebody grab that bottle.
You said the name.
Oh yeah, man. Like that's the thing. Sometimes if I say the woman I'm talking about, her name,
You're just gonna swig it?
No. I mean, I could.
I'll hold the glass. Alright.
There we go.
I'm still drinking about
Alright,
you.
take your medicine.
Drinking about you.
Not thinking, but drinking.
Chill, that's the name of the next one.
Oh man, yeah.
Yeah, but it's like, if you're in love with somebody, the next love that you have has to like overpower that last love.
Yeah, for sure.
Because it's like, you still have those, if you maybe still have those feelings for the person before, like to be able to get over those same feelings, like you can't
need
have
something
like
stronger.
Yeah, it can't just be like because then you're still gonna be thinking about the last one, being like, oh, I loved her more than this one.
Yeah.
However messed up that is to say, like you have to, I don't know. if the reasons you left them, gotta get next level, man. Next level.
Gotta level up.
Yeah,
level up.
That's maybe my problem. I've only been in love once, you know.
And that was the girl.
Yeah, it was unrequited.
Yeah.
And every other woman that I've been with, no offense to anyone that might be watching, I had feelings for that.
I didn't love you.
It was never on that level, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Sometimes I wonder, you know, it's like, is it always gonna be that, you know? But yeah, sidetrack.
Yeah.
But yeah, how are you now? You're dating? You're dating, you're out there.
Yeah, I mean.
What if I said I'm unwilling to take that chance?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, okay,
right.
good. Are you taking that chance?
So what I meant by that part was, right before that, I said what? I said,
I'm unsure if anyone else will accept me the way that you did.
meaning like, I felt like, you know, we broke up, but just because we broke up doesn't mean when we were together, it wasn't perfect. Because, you know, like, it was perfect. So
yeah, those on and off moments, yeah.
Yeah, I felt like she loved me, like, in such a way that, like, I don't know, like, at least when I was writing the poem, I was thinking about, like, man, like, what if I never run into anybody else who loves me like she did? And those specific lines have a lot of weight to it because obviously you can tell now, but I use a wheelchair. I have cerebral palsy, so I use a wheelchair to get around. And, you know, I mean, I'm over the fact that, you know, I'm in a wheelchair, but dating and meeting women, that can impact that whole realm because some women, you know, might not accept certain things, and, you know, it just the way that she felt about it, she did not care.
Yeah.
You know, so, and I feel like, maybe it's not, but I felt like that was rare to, like, find somebody who just did not give a shit about me being in a wheelchair. So, yeah. And the thing about me not wanting to take another chance is, like, me putting myself out there again, me giving, you know, myself the chance to meet somebody else and maybe fall in love again. And because, you know, if you fall in love again, there's a big chance that you can get hurt again, you know, and, like, who wants to go through that more than once?
Yeah. Seriously.
And, yeah.
Yeah, I've felt that too, of, you know, because, like, there was a time I fell into a deep depression, you know, like, that's why I went 4 years without talking to her at all. And it was because I realized, like, I was getting dark, you know, like.
Towards her or yourself?
No, towards myself. I was getting to that point where it was getting more and more frequent that I was having suicidal thoughts, you know, because there's only so much you can take when you see someone that you're in love with other men, you know?
Yeah.
And it scared me that I was getting that low. Mm-hmm. And it was more of like a survival mechanism that kicked in. It's like you can't talk to her, you know, anymore.
Yeah.
And I didn't know if it would be forever. Now I got to a point where it was just that I realized that even though I wasn't talking to her, I was still thinking about her, and I was then afraid. Well, what if I do randomly see her? You know, am I gonna freak out? You know, like. Yeah. So I needed to know that I could talk to her. And so that now we, like, text and meet up every once in a while, and it's fine. But...
And do you still have...
I'm still in love with her. That's the thing. I think
you gotta tell her, bro.
She knows.
Oh, okay.
I mean,
she still talks to you?
Yeah, well, that was the thing. Like, I had told her several times, you know, in that 10-year span that I was in love with her. And then she would just kind of You know, brush it off. You know, like
I love you too, John.
And so it was just me trying to figure out, okay, how can I still be friends with her? And that was the hard lesson to learn, that you can be friends with someone you're physically attracted to.
Yeah.
You can't be friends with someone you're in love with.
Yeah.
It's just not possible.
Yeah.
It's never going to work out.
John used that line on me recently.
I see that. I looked at you and I said,
he's like, you can't do it, Dom. There's no way. And
I'm
I was
sorry.
Like, what if I find a way, John?
You can't.
Impossible.
Yeah.
It'll just destroy you.
Pretty much.
And I realized that, like, I kept wanting her to be like, okay, we're not going to talk anymore.
Yeah.
But I realized, like, she's not going to do that. I'm the one hurting. I'm the one that needs to do that.
Yeah.
You know? And, like, that was the thing. Like, for 4 years, she would still message me, like, every now and then. Like, and that was another thing really, like, damn it. Because, like, she felt powerful feelings towards me. It just wasn't romantic love, you know? And that was the thing. Like, she still would call me, like, tell me I was, like, her best friend. And she would send me texts. And I didn't respond to her for 4 years. And she would still message me. And then, like, she had messaged me that... Because she's, like, a nomad. She's always traveling the world and stuff. And then she messaged me that she was in New York. And that she was actually living in Astoria. Like, 15 minutes away from me.
Wow.
And, like, she was talking about, like, message, like, it's so painful not to be able to see you. And, like, it was just, like, one night a couple of years ago, and I was, like, alone, like, fuck it. I'm just gonna, like, do it. But it was all right, you know? I feel better about it than I've ever had in my entire life the last couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
But, I was gonna say, though, about, like, different types of love. Like, well, you remind me of, I'm not going to name names, obviously, but, like, I have a friend that once told me, that, like, when I first met her, she was with this guy for years, you know? And they had, like they were in love with each other, but they fought all the time, you know? And then eventually, of course, they broke up.
Mm-hmm.
And then she moved away and came back to New York. This was a couple of years ago, and we met up again. She was with another guy, but when it was just me and her, I asked her, like, do you still think about, you know, so-and-so? And she said that when thinking about the new guy, her love for him isn't as, like, intense, that was the word, as, like, the first guy. But she said it's better, where, you know, like, they don't fight all the time, you know, that they actually are compatible with each other, and they, like, do all these things together, you know, and she's still, like, you know, still with him, but, like, so it's interesting, like, I think that there are different kinds of love, and again, maybe it's not all about the intensity, it's about, like, sometimes it could be more about, like, a love that slowly builds and grows and is actually stable. You know?
I feel like the fact that it's stable makes it not seem as intense.
Maybe.
Because it's like the fact that it gets really bad and then gets really good again. Like, you have that
That's interesting.
back and forth. Because that's been, like, my whole thing. Like, I've been in relationships that are totally based around that. Like, it's really bad for a long time, and then as soon as it gets back, it's, like, really good for a second. But it's never consistently good. And whenever it is consistently good, it's just, like, kind of, like, boring.
I would 100% take, like, a stable love over, like, some type of
psychotic,
like,
back and forth
whirlwind of emotion type love, where it's like, today I love you so much and I can't live without you, and then tomorrow it's like, I'll fuck you.
Yeah, exactly. Get out of my face. I hate you. And tomorrow I'll love you again.
Yeah. Too much up and down.
Too old for that shit.
I like, what is it? I like homeostasis, right?
Okay, so this is something I wanted to say. So this part where you said, depression can start to feel like a companion when you get to feeling this lonely. So that's something that was spoken on for Audrey's event. What was it called?
LaGuardia.
Yeah, LaGuardia event. How, like, this guy was saying a poem about his depression. He named it, like, Stan or something.
Right.
And he kind of was like, yeah, Stan's a dick. Like,
were you there for that?
no, he didn't make it out to that one.
Yeah, I wanted to make it, but yeah.
But it's like, I've been really, like, in a weird place, so totally bummed out. And it's like, you get into that mode where it's like, yeah, this is fine. Like, I'm okay being bummed out. At least, like, I have my buddy, old sadness over here, you know? Where you just get into that mode where it's like, all right, I'm going to be sad for a while. Like, this is okay. And then it's like, I'm kind of weird because I get into modes where I don't really feel much of anything, you know? Because I don't know if you guys are feeling depression and stuff, right? So if I ever get depressed, I just try to not feel anything. I try not to, like, battle it with, I need to do a bunch of stuff and be happy. I'm kind of like, I'm just going to subside it and kind of feel like a plateau of nothingness for a while. And, like, get a chill, kind of, like, meditate on it, get a basis. But then once I go above that or below that, I'm like, wow, this is like a feeling that I can feel. And I got really freaked out one day because I was home and I was sad and I was like, I wanted to cry. And I was like, oh, wow, a feeling. Like, this feels like something.
Yeah.
Like, and I was like, this is all right. I'll be here sad and crying and I'll have this, like, extreme emotion that I can feel. I'll actually feel something.
Like, sometimes when you're going through something, you just kind of, you got to go through it, you know what I'm saying? Like, you got to go through it to get through it, you know what I'm saying? So, and it's like something my dad told me a while ago. He said something about, like, the samurai, when it rains, he doesn't walk. He just resolves to walk through it instead of run through it, you know?
Yeah.
You're still going to get wet, you know? Running through the rain, you're still going to get wet. So just, if you just decide to, you know, walk through or deal with whatever you're going through, I mean, sometimes that's how you gotta do it, you know?
You know what you remind me of? You ever have, like, thoughts when you were younger, and then when you think of, something reminds you of them when you're older, and you're like, wow, I was thinking about that shit when I was, like, 12 years old.
Yeah.
Like, you kind of end up being a little impressed.
Yeah.
I have a thought of that where I remember, I guess I was, like, 12 or 13 years old. I was in junior high. And, you know, I was waiting at, like, the bus stop to pick me up for school in the morning. And it was, like, really fucking cold. Like, it was, like, freezing cold. And, like, I remember I was shivering and, like, and then I just had this thought in my head of, like, what if I just stop shivering and let the cold happen?
Yeah.
And somehow it didn't bother me anymore. And it was like, I realized, like, I made this connection in my head that, like, it was the trying to feel warm that was, like, uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But once you accept your situation that you're in,
it becomes bearable.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. If you're not trying to, like,
vibrate.
Right.
It's
to
like,
get heat.
It's like when you're drowning, right? If you're drowning, but you know how to swim, if you're panicking because you're drowning, you're going to drown. You're going to die. But if you can calm yourself somehow and say, hey, I'm drowning, let me calm down, then you can, you know, you'll be all right.
Just float.
Yeah.
Don't even have to swim. Just be like, burp. Turn into a human bubble.
A human buoy.
Human buoy.
But how do you feel when you talk about this stuff? Because, like, I think, like, okay, so we're talking about that sadness, right?
Yeah.
And I've been thinking about this because I even mentioned before we started filming that I've just felt like this sadness really intensely all week, and I don't know why.
Yeah.
And so I've been thinking about it, and I think it's just like, I feel like maybe especially as a man, like, we're told we're not supposed to express our emotions, you know?
Yeah.
And, like, I am such a fucking emotional person.
Me
Like,
too.
I've dubbed the term, I've looked up online, I haven't seen anyone else use it, so it's still mine. Emotional exhibitionism. Where, like, I'm like an emotional exhibitionist. I want everyone to know what I'm feeling all the time. And that's the thing, you can't. And, like, so I've realized, like,
You can't.
I feel like that's a big part of being at least the way I view poetry and being a poet.
Yeah.
Like, that's a big part of it, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Especially if you go and you express at open mics and everything like that, and you write and you publish a book, you gotta want people to know how you're feeling, or else you wouldn't be doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so it's just like I feel like I haven't been writing a lot lately. And
But why do you feel like you can't? Like you're gonna be criticized?
Well, like for example, like the majority of my life is work. You know, especially in the workplace, and I feel like again, especially as a guy, you have to just be like cold and logical. Like you can't respond emotionally to anything. Your boss is being a dick. You just have to take it. You know, like. You can't do anything, you know? Or if you're having a bad day or feeling sad, you can't, like, show that on your face.
You gotta bottle that shit up.
Yeah.
I show it. I don't care.
Well, I feel like you have a little bit of a better job when it comes to that, like working with kids. Like,
but it's not even that one. It's, like, in my daily life. I'm going to show you what the hell I feel. Because I feel like if I keep my emotions to myself and you ask me a question, I'm more likely to, like, explode in your face. With all the emotion I have bottled up, rather than just being like, hey, I'm having a bad day today. Like, can you just leave me alone?
I just feel like it doesn't fly in an office environment.
It's because you haven't tried. Have you tried, John? Like, coming to work, being like, hey, guys, like, I'm kind of just in a crappy mood.
I have a little bit. Like, I said to, like, my direct supervisor this week, at one point, I'm like, I've just been sad the last few days. I just want you to know. But,
and what did he say?
He's cool with it because he has, like...
Here's a lollipop?
He has, like, anxiety issues and stuff as well. But
I feel like it depends on where you work and who you work with.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, like, if you work somewhere that's, like, I don't know, just not receptive to that kind of expression, like, you gotta bottle it up. But if you go there, and again... you feel like it's a safe space.
Right. Yeah.
Safe space. Safe space. Then, you know, I feel like it'd be fine to do.
Like, have you gotten, like, any backlash? Or is it just something that you've, like, had in your head from growing up?
I think it's hard to tell. But, like, for example, I mean, you know, Dom, like, I've been at a job where... everybody was in everyone's business, and like it was way personal, and like the differentiation between a work relationship and like a friendship was like none, and like that was like super intense, and it wasn't great because like everyone took everything personal, you know, and so like ever since then. I've been trying to, like, find a better balance between that.
Yeah.
And, like, it's hard to tell, you know? It's like, for example, this week, a couple of my coworkers, one of them got laid off, and one of them quit. And it was, like, two people that I really liked working with, and, like, they were really cool and really smart and interesting. And, like, I was bummed out about it, you know? And, like, I said, like, I was bummed out about it, but, like, what are you gonna do? Like, I can't, like, it's, like, because, like, I know that most likely I'm probably never gonna see these people again. You know, it's, like, because, like, I've learned that in the workplace as well. Even if you're friends at work, once you're not seeing that person every day, like, you're probably never gonna see them again.
Yeah.
But it's, like, I can't act all, like, emotional about it and be, like, oh, I want to give you a big hug and, like, big send-off and all that stuff.
You can.
No, but that's the thing, because I feel like as a guy, that could be misread as, like, sexual harassment or some shit now. Like, you're not even allowed to hug anybody, or especially initiate a hug. Like, it's like, I don't know how to express myself, you know? It's like...
Weren't we talking about that, too?
Yeah.
Like, what's going to be, like, looked on as sexual harassment?
We did definitely. We were talking about 2 weeks ago, we had, like, a podcast before our podcast.
An unrecorded podcast.
Unrecorded podcast.
There's a lot of gold in that conversation.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah,
we did talk about that.
But what do you think on that, Jake?
Yeah.
About
what? You think John should just like not care about anything and just like, yeah, here's a party, I'm gonna give you a hug, let's be best friends. Like,
you can't do that.
I feel like you're in your head about it.
I mean, no, I feel like
you gotta be careful.
Nah, I mean you definitely got to be careful.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's still doable. You know, you can still do it.
Dom's trying to reach for his water really like tactfully right now.
Sorry.
What were you saying, Jason?
Nah, I feel like you could do it. You know, it's just do it in like a weird way.
Don't be so rapey, John. That's what he's trying to say.
Try to
Saying that word. That's like you would not be able to exist in an office environment. You can't say rapey in an office environment.
Yeah, if you say rapey in an office environment, you're going to see like a supervisor.
Yeah,
or HR or some shit.
It's not the job
Don't
I
say
want to
rapey,
have.
people. Don't say rapey. All right.
John's the PC king.
Sure. But I don't know. It's like hard.
So then we can't even talk
out.
about the sexual harassment thing because it's too cliche. It's what is it?
You can talk about
No,
it.
we can't talk about it as three dudes sitting on like a couch together. We can't talk about like sexual harassment. What the hell are these assholes talking about?
I could talk about how it's hard for me. No.
It's hard for you as a man, as a white man in society today in New York City.
Speaking of like sexual harassment, I got catcalled.
Oh right, yeah. Talk about that.
First of all, the sheer shock because I'm not attractive.
Jesus, man.
So I was like, is she like? I look behind me, is she talking to me? And she was. She made eye contact. She was like, "Hey, I don't know. I'm not
specifically talking to you.
I'm talking to you, sugar tit." And I was all for it. Like I was going to the gym, and I had my headphones in, but she made eye contact. And it was just low enough to kind of hear her. And she was like, "Hey, baby, how you doing, handsome?" Or something like that. And I was just like, I almost didn't respond.
Yeah.
A, because I was surprised.
Right.
And B, because I was just like, joy was like in my mouth. So I couldn't formulate words to, express my enjoyment that she found me attractive enough to catcall me. Is it catcalling if it's a woman?
Why not?
Yeah. A man?
But
like, what are you even gonna say? Here's my number. Like, how do you respond to that?
And I was just like, hey, like, thank you, and
I mean, that's the thing. We'll take it as a compliment because we don't feel threatened. You know, it's like,
but
if there's a really aggressive guy to a woman.
You don't know. Maybe Jay felt.
I definitely did. I definitely did not.
Whoa.
But I will say, the fact that I enjoyed it is because, like, out of 29 years, that was the one time it happened.
If that was happening, like...
If it happened every day, multiple times a day, possibly, maybe I wouldn't enjoy it as much as I did. But.
So, I just thought of something that happened to me. In middle school, this girl, I was standing on line, she came up behind me and just grabbed my ass. Like,
really?
Like, hard grabbed my ass. And was like, damn, you got a fat ass. Like, loud so the whole class heard it. And I was just like... I never did anything with a girl at that point, and I was like, I was like, I don't know how to feel. Do I feel like upset that she touched my ass? Like, am I happy that she touched my ass because no one's ever touched my ass before?
That's sexual harassment.
That's totally sexual harassment, but I didn't care. I was like, she touched my ass, like.
But that's the thing too. Like, we're not taught how to respond to that shit at all. Like, I got like shit. This might have been like a year ago now. Where my friend, he took me to Stonewall, you know, like gay bar.
Oh damn!
And like it was really interesting experience because like I always wanted to go because like I fucking love gay people. Like they're like the best people. Yeah, but like also I just was curious like what that experience would be for a straight man. Yeah. What always kind of prevented me is I always felt like. But this is for, like, them. Like, I feel like I don't want to, like, intrude on other people.
But they're always inviting you to gay bars. They don't care.
So, like, I went, and, like, first of all, like, most of it was, like, a great experience. Because, like, what was interesting is I had never been out in public and not felt like I had to exuberate some kind of masculinity.
Yeah.
Like, I could just be, like, silly and cute and, like, not feel like I
Get
weird
drinks the
about
whole
it.
night. Like,
But what was weird, like, leaving, what was interesting is when I was leaving, I left by myself, and, like, as I was walking out of the bar, some guy walking towards me was like, hey, you're really cute. You want to give me a hug? And I'm like, no, thanks, man. He's like, but you're really hot. And I'm like, oh, thank you. And then, like, he said, hey, I said you're hot. Don't you want to give me a hug? And I'm like, no. And like, I said thank you. He's like, whatever, man. It's like, so for the first time, like, I got that experience of, like,
that's the
of,
most
like, a guy
aggressive
being
hug
like,
ever.
hey, I told you were hot. And I'm like, yeah, and I said thank you. So you want to give me a hug? No.
But I told you.
You're
hot.
So I can understand, like...
You know what? I think if every man had that experience, he would, like, us as a gender would understand the female, like, point of view of that.
But I feel like we're different because all of us have sisters.
Yeah.
So
you have sisters?
Yeah, two, yeah.
Yeah.
It's
also, like, specifically older sisters.
Yeah.
Like, I always tell people, like, I had to respect women because if I didn't, I would get my ass kicked.
Beaten under the table.
Also, for me, I don't know about you guys, but, like, I feel like growing up in a Jewish household, like, is more of, like, Jewish culture is more of, like, a matriarchy.
Yeah.
Like, all of the women in my entire family are, like, fucking strong-minded women. Like, it was, like, this idea of, like, submissive woman.
I don't even know any woman that's a submissive woman.
I don't either,
Have you ever met one?
Nah.
They don't exist.
I'm African American, so...
And you're Italian.
Yeah. It doesn't exist.
So, yeah,
especially not in New York City. That does not exist.
Somebody was telling me, a friend of mine was telling me about, like, I don't even know if I should say.
What?
But, like, a friend of mine...
You don't have to name names.
Yeah, I won't name his name. But he was telling me, like, Japanese women or, like, Asian women. But, yeah.
But that's, like, a cultural thing.
Yeah.
That's sort of, like, that whole cultural thing is, like, their thing and let them have that. They can do whatever they want.
I don't know, man. But,
it's like bowing, this, that. There's a lot of rules.
But I've wondered, like, you know, for me, I wonder if I put so much weight on, like, trying to find a romantic relationship because that's only acceptable time in our culture that a man is allowed to express emotion. We're allowed to express emotion to women and, like, dogs.
Like, even dogs is pushing it.
Yeah.
Oh, man, it's such a cute dog. What the
Yeah. Like, yeah, even with dogs, like, you, as a man, I can't go up to someone walking their dog and be
Your
like,
dog is so cute. Like,
Yeah.
that's a good looking dog.
I did that a couple weeks ago. I was going to
cute dog.
going to the cafe. I tell you.
Yeah?
And like a dude was walking his husky, and he was huge, and I love huskies.
Yeah.
And he was huge, and he had a lot of hair. And but even I did that masculine. I was like, hey, bro, like, nice dog.
Nice dog. You didn't say cute dog.
Yeah.
I mean, if you say cute dog.
I mean, after we were talking.
If
like,
you say, okay, if you said that to, like, some dude walks up with a husky and you're like, hey, man, cute dog. That guy's going to be like, cute
true.
dog? Like,
he's a dude, he has a husky.
I won't say my dog's cute.
Also, as a guy, we can't go up to someone with a baby and be like,
You can't say anything about the baby. You can't even look at the baby.
They'll run away.
If you look at the baby, like...
They look at you like...
Why are you looking at my baby? Your baby's been looking at me for the last, like, 2 hours. So...
Right?
You get that, dude? I'm baby staring at me all the time.
Yeah, like, constantly.
I was
Or
on
they should laughing in my face. I'm like, your baby's laughing at me. I'm just, what do you want?
a couple of years ago, I was on like the Metro North, heading to my ex when she lived in Connecticut. You know what? Every time I bring her up, I might take a shot.
Yeah, you don't need to. It's there if you really do,
but
Jake went through the Olympics to get into my apartment, so.
Oh yeah, that was fun. We should have recorded that. But yeah, like this baby, like the whole ride, the baby was like staring at me, and it was the baby was adorable.
Yeah.
And you can't really. I get what you're saying though. You know.
You're like, sometimes I just go, like, when the parents are not looking, I'm like, blah, 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 like, I just do some weird thing, and then they look at me, I'm like, what? Your baby started it.
Well, yeah, you know what it just reminded me of, too, I think about sometimes, like, do you guys remember, I remember, not a specific moment, but a distinct, like, feeling of when, I went from being, like, my sister's cute younger brother to, like, women, like, now, like, not trying to make eye contact with me, like, feeling like there were a little bit of more of a fear standoffish.
That was just constantly for me.
Even when you were little?
Yeah. I was just always terrorizing my sister's friends.
Oh, man. But, like, I remember that time of, like, going from, like, you know, around puberty, you know, where...
I mean, well, that's when it'll happen because...
Yeah.
What, like they were saying, like, you're a cute little kid?
Yeah, and then
you're
not.
Yeah, I mean, because as, like, dudes, like, or men, when you get past a certain point, like, especially when, like you're going through puberty or after you're through puberty, I can understand why they would stop, you know, calling you, like, cute or... Because then, you know, you might...
interpret things differently.
Yeah, in a different way, you know.
But yeah, man, it's just I don't know. Just talking about like, I feel like I wonder if we take rejection or heartbreak, or part of the reason why you could take it so hard is because it in our society it's not as acceptable for a man to express emotion and be, you know, especially like be physical with anyone that they're not in a relationship with, you know?
Physical how?
Just like even like a hug again or something like that, you know? It's
you see,
like,
that's what I never understand. All right, like in high school, when I finally started talking to like girls and stuff, especially Spanish girls, all the Spanish girls want to come up to give you a kiss on the cheek.
But that's like, again, that's like...
Yeah, but that's the thing. It's like, these girls are coming up to you, kissing you on the cheek, and that's, like, acceptable. But if you try to hug a girl, that's unacceptable.
Right.
That's like, stop kissing me on my cheek, or I'm gonna, like, start liking you because you're kissing me all the time, you know? Like, if you don't want to like somebody, don't kiss them. It's just a weird thing. You know what I mean, John?
Well, I mean, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's okay if a woman initiates it, but not if a guy.
It depends on how long you hold it. You're like, if a girl initiates the hug and then you're like, and you're like, all right, no, stop, like, break it. Never hugging you again.
You gotta count Mississippi's.
Mississippi's. What's the right amount of Mississippi's, Jay?
For what?
For a hug. What else?
I mean,
if you're kissing for that long, if you're kissing in more than one Mississippi,
a friend hug is like me hugging a female friend. That's like 2 seconds.
2 Mississippi.
But like if I'm hugging someone,
yeah, 3 is like a lot.
If I'm hugging someone that I like, you want it to linger. So like,
so you can smell their hair.
That's kind of good.
That's some next level.
A good whiff.
Oh man.
I don't know. I've had like you know, Audrey and I are kind of close. So like,
yeah.
She'll like give like those big fucking bear hugs, won't let go.
Yeah. Audrey, she does give good hugs.
Yeah, she's a
tight ones too.
Yeah, I know. Feel like you're in a vice.
She's got strong ass shoulders.
Yeah, I don't know, but yeah, I've just been wondering about that. Like, I'm not, again, I can't speak to a female experience, of course, but I feel like as a man, do we take it so hard? Do we think about death? Because, like, we were like, yes, I finally have like, not only am I in love with this person, but I also have, like, an outlet to express how I feel towards somebody. Yeah. You know, like, my brother-in-law, you know, he's more of, like, your typical masculine guy, you know? And, like, I was telling him, like, this was a few months ago where, like, I was talking about, like, going back to therapy. He's like, no, man, you don't need to go see a therapist. you need a woman in your life so you can talk to her about your problem. Like, I don't know, man. I don't know. I want a woman just to be my therapist.
Hey, man. Whatever works.
Yeah, I really never thought about it that way either. Because, like...
Yeah, but sometimes they don't help.
I mean, but the right ones will, you know? Not help as in the sense, like...
They're like,
sometimes...
and then
sometimes
you
you
stuff.
just...
And like, just shut up. Just shut your mouth and give me a hug you for a while.
Sometimes you just need, like, a soundboard, you know what I'm saying? So, sometimes if you're not comfortable with, like, calling, like, a buddy of yours and telling them what you're going through, if you have, like, a woman to, like, speak to like, that does help, you know what I'm saying? Because when I was with, like, my ex...
You don't need that
like,
shot.
I don't. Everything that I went through, that I was going through, like, she was the person that I would call or text or see, and I would just tell her everything, you know what I'm saying? So, like, now, true story, now I've been single for, like, 11 months, and I'm looking for, like, a therapist to speak to about shit, and that's, like, the truth.
No.
But when I was with her, or a female period, like, I never felt like...
You guys can just talk to me. Don't waste your money on therapists. I'm here for you. I'll be your base.
That's the thing. I think that's why we, like each other so much. Because, like, it's hard to find guys that, like, are open about talking about their feelings about shit. Like, that's why I get along with Axel so well, you know? And it's funny because, like, I've said, like, besides, like, the last couple of years, like, most of my life, most of my friends have been women.
Yeah.
And now, like, it's, like, the first period in my life where most of my friends are guys.
Yeah.
But they're guys that are like, yeah, man, I'll give you a hug. It's cool,
exactly.
you know, like...
Like, screw it.
Yeah. But, yeah, what were you saying, Jason? So you're thinking about seeing a therapist.
Well, John, you go to one, right?
I was seeing a therapist again for a while, but he kind of sucked. So I stopped, and so I haven't seen one in a while now.
It's just, I don't know, like, I've just been looking for one because it just be nice to speak to, like, a stranger who you can just, like, tell everything to. They're objective. You don't really care what they think about you or, you know.
Yeah. They don't need anything from you.
Yeah. Except money.
Yeah, I know.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. But poetry and writing is also therapy for me too. You know, give me a pen, paper, or a keyboard and a laptop or whatever, a phone, and I mean that is, you know, just about as good or maybe even better than, you know, anything else, because I've gotten this far, and I've never spoken to, like, a therapist before. You know.
But it's like this. The only reason I hadn't done so is because I knew my mother wouldn't survive.
Okay. Yeah. So, a couple of lines before that goes into me thinking about committing suicide, and I have thought about that a couple of times. A lot of the time I thought about committing suicide was when I was younger, and, you know, just being in a wheelchair at a young age, it was, like, hard to deal with because you can't, like, do things that other kids can do, and it was just hard to deal with. So I thought about it a couple of times as a young kid, and, you know, a couple of times as an adult too, but I just, you know, I haven't done it because, obviously one of the biggest reasons is because I'm really close to my mom. Like, she's amazing, and you know, we're really close. We have a great relationship, and I know, like, if I did that, like, she would not be the same ever again, you know? And I can't do that. So maybe the reason I haven't even done it, I guess, is because I can't do it to her. Like, me doing that to me, it's like, it would affect everybody who knows me, I guess.
Yeah.
But, like, her and my dad, like, they would really, really be deeply affected by that. And I love them to the point where I don't want to hurt them, so, you know.
I've had a similar thought where, you know, like, when I've been suicidal, you know, it's weird, right? Because you're like in a state of mind that's not what we're in right now. Like, like right now, if I think of suicide in like my logical state of mind, it's like, that's just stupid. Why waste this opportunity to live, Yeah. I'm going to die someday anyway.
Yeah.
Might as well just live it out.
Yeah.
But then, like, when you're in that state of mind, it's like you're in a state of mind where you're thinking, the world and the people that I love would be better off without me, And so, then when I've snapped out of it and thought back to those times, it scared me. So I'm like, I need to condition my brain to do something similar to what you just said. Like, I've thought about who do I know at all times, 100%, that would be worse off without me,
Me.
I think of my father,
Well, not part of the equation.
No, because, like, I know that, I mean, obviously there's, like, my mother would be distraught as well. But the same thing with you. Like, I know that my father wouldn't survive that. And so I've tried to condition myself, like, when I'm feeling that way, just to think of one word. Just think dad. And then, like, and it's helped since I started doing that. Because, like, I'll think dad, and then I'll be able to work, pull myself out of it. And I'm like, yeah, dad wouldn't survive that. And then, like, logic starts to seep in again of, like, yeah, the world is not better off without you,
Yeah.
I feel like thoughts of suicide exist in this realm of, like, loneliness.
Of course.
Like, I don't know about you guys, but, like, I feel like suicide does not exist if you have another person there.
Nah, I don't think that's true.
Well, really?
It has to be a closeness.
But I mean, like, right next to you. Like, if we're sitting here, you're not going to say...
That's not necessarily true.
Nah, yeah, I don't think that's true because there are people who are, like, married and happy and have everything, basically that they want, but it's just, they feel like, they're not, like, some aspect of their life is not, like, happy or correct, and, like, that's why they would go there, because,
But that's, like, I feel like that's a different level of suicide. Like, there's different levels. Like, some people are like, oh, yeah, I'm having a bad day. Like, but overall, your life is good.
I think, I've thought about it. I think that, like, because trying to think about it from, like, why would we even have that capacity, from an evolutionary perspective, right? In my mind, it makes sense to me. I think, like, suicide is, like, nature's self-destruct mechanism.
Mm-hmm.
Where, in my mind, I think that as human beings, we're pack animals. You need to feel like you belong somewhere. And so you could be in a pack, but if you don't feel like you're useful, if you don't feel like you belong, if you don't feel like you're contributing, or people care about you in the way you need to be cared about, then it's like nature has this thing, compartmentalized somewhere in your brain. It's like, all right, well, you should destroy yourself for the better good of the pack, The problem is that it might not necessarily be true, just because you're thinking that way. But I think, like, in that way, that's how I make sense of why it exists.
But it's like, if you go back into, like, how we're built to be, like, you can only have a certain amount of food and resources. So if you're not useful, stop using up all our resources and get lost.
Right.
But it's like now when there's, like, all food everywhere. It's like,
well, it's not everywhere.
Yeah, not everywhere in the entire world.
I don't know because, like, speaking on that, every time I've thought of suicide, it's never really been because I think people would be better off without me. It's been more so because of the unhappiness and, like, the voids that exist within me,
Mm.
So, I mean,
so it's just to get rid of the pain.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I definitely think that that's a part of it. But in my mind, it's like, where does that pain come from? And I think it's because of, like, maybe, like, in your case, like, that rejection or lack of reciprocation of love you know?
Yeah.
Or from someone that you love. So, but yeah, I don't think that it necessarily has to do with someone being physically there. I think it's just like, yeah, just wanting that love, you know? But I don't know, like in my mind I've thought about too, you know, like what if I never find that, you know, what if because people always like, oh no, yeah, there's someone for everybody, you'll find it.
Yeah, but there's 8 billion people on this planet.
Yeah, but in my mind it's like, no, fuck you, because like there are people that don't end up finding that.
Yeah,
and there's people that just settle down for someone like just to be there and they're miserable. And so it's like, in my mind, yeah, that is a possibility. And so I've thought like, what am I going to do if I, you know what it made me think of? I can't remember. I think it was called like, there was a movie, it was called like The Bureau or something. Mm-hmm. And it was about like, there's like these Bureau of Angels that...
You know what I'm talking about? Matt Damon, right?
It wasn't Matt Damon. Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Maybe it was.
The Adjustment Bureau.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, I have it on DVD.
And there was like a line there's like a line in that movie where like, because the main character had an original destiny where he's supposed to end up with this woman, but then they changed it because then he was going to end up doing like these great things for the world. Yeah. And he's like, why did you change it? And like this angel says to him, because if you had her, she would have been enough. Yeah. And that rung true for me. Wow. It's like, if I hadn't been rejected by a woman that I talk about,
you might not have your book.
You know, would I have a book? Would I be like doing these other things? Like trying to like, or would she have just been enough? Like me just devoting my life to her, would that have just been enough and I wouldn't need to do anything else?
That's a different way to look at it.
Yeah, but it's like what we were always talking about, like the passive possible probability. Like
what I'm saying is like, because I don't have her, because I don't have love, I've been forcing myself to find other ways of having an outlet to do
But I mean, like, if you did have that love, it's not like that's a negative thing either.
Yeah, but I wonder, like,
it's just because you're on the opposite side of it that you see it as like, oh yeah, I'm better off without it.
That's what I'm saying too. It's like, I think like you need to think, like, for me it's helped to like realize like, okay, there is a possibility that I don't find that, so I need to find other things to do to take care of, to like satisfy that hunger at least a little bit, you know.
I get that completely.
You know, talking about this depressing shit, you know, that, you know, talking about if we don't find love, you still need to find things to do to keep you going.
Positive things to do, not...
Right, but what it also reminds me of is, I don't remember if I've talked about it on this podcast before, but in later years with my grandfather, after my grandmother passed away, you know, I would talk to him about what I was going through and heartbreak. And he told this story about that before he met my grandmother, he was actually in love once before. And her name was Betty. And he said that...
talked about that.
Yeah, I don't remember if it was on the podcast, though. But that, you know, sum up, like, he was with this woman for, I think, maybe about a year. And then she tells him that the whole time they were together, that she was actually married and that they had been separated and that she was going back to her husband, but she still wanted to like see him on the side.
Wow.
And he said, no, I'm not going to share you. Yeah. And he left her, and he never, I think he saw her once again, like they ran in together when he was with my grandmother already, and he kind of was able to like show off that he moved on.
Yeah.
But he said that, you know, he was madly in love with my grandmother. You know, they were married for over 65 years before she passed away. Wow. And you could still tell how madly in love with each other they were. But he said he never stopped loving Betty. And he still thought about her. And he said that, you know, he had two great loves of his life. And he said the thing was, one was a devil, Betty, who made him feel bad about himself in the end.
Yeah.
And one was an angel, my grandmother, who lifted him up. And so when he was telling me, when I was telling him that I was heartbroken, he said, well, aren't you so lucky that you'll have 2 great loves of your life,
Yeah.
And so you've already had like 5, but maybe you're gonna have 6,
Well, okay, so back to Plum for her real quick. Mm-hmm. 2 out of the 4, like I had deep, strong feelings of love for. The other 2,
okay,
yeah, it wasn't like love.
But you've had 3 great loves of your life.
I've been in love, true love, once. One time. The other 2, like we said before, like different varying degrees.
Right.
So like my most recent ex, like she's the quintessential like love, The other 2, like it was there, but like when I look at we can't help but compare things. So when I look at my recent ex and the other 2, it's like, oh, okay, you see a hard difference,
Yeah.
And then hopefully, like I'm pretty sure, the next time I meet someone else, I'll look at her and go, oh, and and it's not to take away anything from anybody else. It's just, things change.
Also, I believe that it's always different because they're different people,
Yes.
So it's like, just like, even with friendship, like, my friendship with Dom is going to be different than my friendship with you, for example, because we're different people.
Yeah.
So it's like, when you fall in love with again, it's never going to be the same.
No.
But it could be just as powerful or even more powerful,
Yeah, that's true. And I think if you're looking for it to be the same, like, it's definitely not. I don't think that's even healthy.
No, that's where things get fucked up.
Yeah, you might be trying to morph who you're with now into who you were with, and that's not gonna turn out right. Like, you shouldn't even try to change somebody, like from who they are into somebody you think they should be. But you really shouldn't try to change somebody from who they are into like who you were with before. That's kind of sick.
Sick bastards out there.
But yeah, man, like, you're gonna have another book next month. That's a good thing.
I am, another book.
And
this is actually the first time I've ever said, like, because on Instagram and when I promote it, I use WIIS. So what if I said, like, trying to be mysterious and like keep it under wraps? So this is like the coming out party of my book.
All right,
man. What if I said? And the cover, I gotta like give a shout out to the artist who like illustrated the cover. Her name is Jessica Pink, and she did the cover. She's amazing, and like when I was describing it to her, like I knew exactly what I wanted, but like sometimes you can't articulate like exactly what you want.
Yeah.
And I told her what I wanted, and she did it like to a T. So I'm just nobody's really seen a cover like on a grand scale. So I'm excited to like show that off eventually because it's amazing. So thank you, Jessica. You're an angel.
Yeah, it's great when that works out. That's how I felt about my book. I had one of my best friends, Cal, do it.
Yeah.
And like it was great because I mean, he did it even better than I like described it or thought about it in my head. Like, it's great when you can collaborate, especially like I feel like as a writer, and you can collaborate with someone that's like visual, artist. It's like, oh, I could see what I was feeling.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. I should have printed out like a picture. I have it on my phone. I'll show you too, but y'all gotta wait. Yeah, you probably can see it. Yeah.
Maybe we could figure out linking to that on YouTube or something.
Yeah, that's cool.
Post it on the website.
Yeah.
Or also on the Facebook too.
All of that. We like to do a lot of our craft brand promotion here, right?
Yeah. So when's your next Poetry in the Park
episode coming out?
Yeah.
Well, it's gonna be the first one of this new round.
Yeah. That episode should be coming out in a couple days.
So you're gonna do it for next weekend, right?
Maybe tomorrow. I'm just.
Oh.
I sent it to.
Wow.
I sent it to Lourdes.
Lourdes,
I'm gonna
yeah.
mess her name up. Lourdes, and I'm just waiting on her, to give her opinion on how it was. How it came out. But yeah, probably tomorrow. So be on the lookout for that. Poetry in the Park 13 on YouTube. We got a bunch of episodes coming up. We got Lourdes, hopefully tomorrow. Then we got Devin
Garcia,
who's a guitar player and singer. That'll be in about 2 weeks. Then we have Audrey DeMola.
I thought Johnny C was next.
No, he's number 5.
Oh yeah, true. Well,
No,
that's
he's
the
number-
that's
he's
the
number
order.
6.
That's the order that I'm editing it. I'm doing John next and Audrey.
Oh.
I don't want to look at Audrey's face. For that.
So much love for his sister, right?
Oh, God.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Much love.
Audrey, and then my main
Johnny
man
C.
Johnny C right here.
Johnny C, you're not gonna come out until like.
Well, you can also see a preview of that in last.
Yes.
Oh, yeah,
If
yeah.
you check out last episode of this podcast, the footage
Intro.
that we shot for Poetry in the Park is on that. So you should definitely backtrack.
But
Check this guy out.
they got their own exclusive interview from me
Oh,
as
yeah,
well.
yeah, we
so
do.
Interview is what
you
you
should
gotta
still
wait
check
for.
it out on their channel once that's posted. But we'll let you know
So-
about that too.
Yeah.
Alright, so any final words? Or we're doing the wrap up? Alright, we're good. Let's wrap up.
Wrap it up.
I like how you
dinner.
even asked that
Yeah.
question. You knew the answer to the question. If I was like, yeah, this, you were like, no, dumb. It's done. It's over.
It's done. Cut. No. It's been NYC Geek Society. Like, share, subscribe. Tell your mom, tell your dad, tell all JC's girlfriends.
Oh, God.
And NYC Geek Out.